The following is an EHC media production.
Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to the second edition of the Tope, where I, your host, Brian Green, give you my review of 205 Live and all of the high-flying, magnificent, breathtaking action that the cruiserweights deliver every Tuesday night on 205 Live. And admittedly, I'm doing this review a little bit late in the week. My apologies for those listening. If you are listening, thank you for giving me a shot. If this is your first time, or if you checked out WinXT and you're hopping over to this show, gonna be a little shorter than WinXT. Gonna try to speed through the show as quickly and as swiftly as these cruiserweights speed through their matches. So without further ado, you know who I am, you know why I'm here. Let's get into it. So for this week, 205 Live, they are still in London, England. Raw and SmackDown were in London. So 205 Live records after SmackDown, they would naturally be there as well. So we are mixing up the Cruiserweight roster with some talent from the UK roster. The UK roster is a little bit unknown at this point. As I said that, I challenged myself to name 5 people on the UK roster, and I think I can do it. There's Tyler Bate, the first ever UK champion. There's Pete Dunne, the second UK champion, and those are your 2 only UK champions the company has ever had. You have, who else was in that tournament? You had Wolfgang, he was on NXT a few months ago. You have Joseph Connors, who was on this edition of 205 Live. James Drake, also there. Trent Seven, who I may have said already, I don't recall. But they have announced the second UK tournament to be coming up, I believe, sometime in the summer. Not a lot of familiar names. If I ran down the list, you'd say, who is that and why do I care? The most prominent names in this tournament are actually 2 wrestlers from 205 Live, that being Jack Gallagher and Drew Gulak, who is from the US of A, but hey, we need some talent in that tournament, some prominent names, and if Gulak is in it, going to be some great matches. So we kick off the show. They introduce some of these UK talent members that, they'll be utilizing throughout the night. There's Kenny Williams, there's James Drake, there's Joseph Connors, there's Flash Morgan Webster. Go check out these guys in detail if you want to put a name to a face and check out some of their in-ring portfolio, if you will. I knew none of these guys from the UK, this quote-unquote local talent who I'm sure flourishes in the indies over there. Anyway, the show opened with a fatal 4-way match. You have TJP against UK's own Tyler Bate, against the UK's own Kenny Williams, versus Kalisto. Now, Kenny Williams looks like the mix of Baron Blade from the 2K games, the WWE 2K story modes, where you have Baron Blade, just some average looking guy, generic moveset, generic attire. This Kenny Williams guy looked like that and a combination of Corey Graves. He did a promo saying that he got in the business to be the best and he does not lack any confidence. He was actually trained by Noam Dar, who's been out on injury for quite some time, and I miss Noam Dar so much. I miss him with Alicia Fox. That was his gimmick. I swear he did that all the time. Kalisto comes down to the ring and he's integrated some party spinners into his gimmick and they're painted with the Mexican flag. Kalisto is a part of the Lucha House Party with himself, Lince Dorado, and Gran Metalik. Anytime that they are in action collectively, it's going to be a great match. They had a fantastic match with the Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher last week. So we actually had these guys mix it up here. TJP, being the heel that he is, powdered out of the ring early and let the 3 guys kind of score up and fight it out while he sat and waited to take advantage of it. Kenny Williams delivers a nice flying back elbow, springboards off the rope and throws an elbow behind him to take out Bate. And Kalisto and TJP are left to fight in the middle of the ring. TJP is sure to take out Tyler Bate and Kenny Williams as they try to get back into the ring and stop the beatdown that he is putting on Kalisto. Kalisto is able to go for the Salida del Sol, and TJP, being the coward that he is, goes for the masks, trying to get him off of him by ripping the mask off. Kalisto then gets out of this predicament and leaves TJP in a tree of woe, and Kenny Williams runs in out of nowhere with a low drop kick to immobilize him. Kalisto then dives off the top to take out Kenny Williams. Bate and TJP go at it, and Tyler Bate surprise attacks TJP, jumping back in at this point, getting retribution from the sneak attack that TJP did to him earlier. So as I run down the intricacies of this match, it was a lot of fast-paced, back-and-forth action. It wasn't a bad match at all. There wasn't really any dull spots. It was just too much going on. The UK crowd is chanting whatever. They're pretty hot tonight. Tyler Bate hits his signature airplane spin on TJP. He's the only person I've seen in wrestling able to capture an audience's attention with an airplane spin. So good on Tyler Bate for that. He throws off his own equilibrium doing this, though, and he uses TJP as a weapon using his feet. There was a great move in the old WWE games where you could put the ladder up on your head and you could spin the joystick around and take out people with like the legs of the ladder. That's what he was doing with TJP to take out Kenny Williams and Kalisto here. And then he threw TJP onto Williams as a weapon, just tossed him. So there's then this spot where Tyler Bate tries to come in and break up a heel hook that TJP put onto Kenny Williams. TJP is able to counter his meddling, and he puts Tyler Bate into an octopus stretch. So TJP has Tyler Bate in the octopus stretch, but has Kenny Williams, in a heel hook. Kalisto then runs in and tries to break up this double submission type scenario that TJP has, and for his efforts, Kalisto was caught in a headlock. So TJP caught 3 separate opponents and 3 unique submission moves for the time being. Very unique spot there. However, this didn't last very long. Kalisto got out. He rolled TJP and Tyler Bate in sync. And instead of doing the Listo kick, the roundhouse as he's grounded, he springs up, hits a double drop kick, takes those 2 men out. That was a great sequence there. Kalisto then goes to the top rope, and TJP uses Kenny Williams' body as a weapon. He shoves him at Kalisto to throw him off the top rope. Tyler Bate goes to suplex Kalisto. Kenny Williams joins him and tries to do a double suplex onto Kalisto. And then here comes TJP to complete the Tower of Doom spot, powerbombing the 2 men, giving Kalisto the double suplex. Typical multi-man match here on 205 Live. So as things got to the end here, Kalisto shot Kenny Williams off the rope, and Kenny Williams countered with a magnificent tilt-a-whirl DDT. Tyler Bate came in to run offense when TJP super kicked both of them, one after the other. Tyler Bate got up to his feet, and he and TJP ran at each other and clotheslined each other. They had the same move in mind. Great minds think alike. Closing moments of the match, Kenny Williams kicked Kalisto into the ring steps, taking him out, and he got on the apron, attempted a springboard, and ate a fist by Tyler Bate as he tried to springboard into the ring. TJP goes for his detonation kick, kind of like a modified GTS. Instead, he throws you up and hits you with this boot. This is countered by Tyler Bate, and Tyler Bate throws a hard lariat at TJP to take him down. Tyler Bate then picks up TJP for the Tiger Bomb, the Tyler Driver 97, to get the win here. Now, this was a great match. No complaints about it at all. They all had a unique role here in this match. TJP, the first ever modern Cruiserweight champion after winning the inaugural Cruiserweight Classic tournament, he was the glue that held things together. You know, his technicality, his agility, and his lethal strikes and bad attitude were something to help develop the story in the match. Kalisto injected his veteran high flying into the match. He pulled out a lot of high spots everywhere, anywhere, at any time that he could. And he was a universal puzzle piece that every person in this match quite well. Kenny Williams, he worked the WWE style very well. I think that he spammed too much. He did a lot of the same springboard back elbows in this match. His offense was explosive, but I would love to see him in detail, to see his personalized moveset, to see what he can do as a solo competitor not hidden amongst three other wrestlers. Tyler Bate was the favorite here. He's the hometown hero. He was a showman in the match who fit in a lot of different scenarios. He did great with storytelling in this match, and the victory in the end against TJP helped thread the story of the match together. And the match was complemented by this magnificent in-ring action. So, hey, great opener here to give the London crowd something to talk about, these cruiserweights. Buddy Murphy then has a promo backstage, a little vignette. They enter some B-roll here, and he talks about how no one has a chance against him because he is a juggernaut of the division. Now, this was an intimidating sit-down interview. He talked about his training regimen and how no one gave him a chance. Finally, in 2 weeks, we get Cedric Alexander against Buddy Murphy in Cedric's home state of North Carolina for the Cruiserweight Championship, and that should be a great match. Buddy Murphy has been very impressive. Cedric Alexander is trying to break in the role of being Cruiserweight Champion. He's still trying to fit in that seat, so let's see how he does. I think this is going to be a great first program for him to prove himself as champion. The match he had with Kalisto at the Greatest Royal Rumble was kind of buried beneath a lot of fluff on that card. That card was very self-serving to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and I feel like the audience there had not a care in the world for Kalisto and Cedric. So hopefully with this persona that Buddy Murphy has been exhibiting lately, it is enough to carry this program. It is enough to bring some intensity and some interest into their match and into the feud. So in 2 weeks, I'll see where it goes. Hopefully it's a fantastic championship match. Akira Tozawa versus Hideo Itami is announced for next week, and this makes me sad. They were doing great as a tag team here in 205 Live. I believe that they were going to be the first team in line to get a tag team championship match if there was a 205 Live tag team title brought in. That's why I thought that they were positioning Lucha House Party to be a unit, Hideo Itami and Akira to be a unit. It seemed like they're getting the Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher to tag together. So it seemed like they were getting ready to bring some titles in. I'm not really sure about that. But anyway, Hideo Itami has become very incensed and very angered with how Akira Tozawa has been, quote unquote, costing them matches. They've been losing clean to great teams, but Hideo has to find the blame and he has to put it on Akira. So I can't wait to see those guys mix it up next week. It's a hard, hidden match, hopefully, between these two awesome Japanese competitors who, quite frankly, deserve more. Remember when Akira was enticing worldwide and Hideo was injured and just buried on NXT? These guys deserve some more prominent TV time. So backstage, we're getting an interview for the 6-man tag that we have later on in the evening. It is going to be Cedric Alexander, Mustafa Ali, and UK's Flash Morgan Webster, who looks like Elton John in a bomber jacket with a helmet. You know, he approaches them ahead of their 6-man, and I don't know if this guy's supposed to be some sort of British Daredevil, a British version of Evel Knievel. That's what he looked like with his parachute suit get up and the bomber jacket and the helmet. And that match is next, actually. So I can talk about how much of a goober this guy looked like when he took the glasses off. They fought Joseph Connors, who was missing half of an ear that was taken out in a bar brawl a few years ago or so. And if you looked at what's his name, Joseph Connors, you wouldn't think that this guy would even step foot in a bar because he looks very harmless and petite himself. He's teaming with James Drake, who honestly looks a lot like Joseph Connors. And they are accompanied by Drew Gulak, who is my favorite in this match and probably my favorite cruiserweight on the 205 Live roster. Reminds me a lot of Dean Malenko. Reminds me a little bit of Lance Storm in a type of way. I hope that Drew Gulak gets that championship eventually. His character work is great. His mic work is great. And who doesn't love a great PowerPoint? So as this match starts, Gulak says that he's been putting his team through some rigorous training exercises all day. I think the commentary team, Vic Fuentes, Percy Watson, and Nigel McGuinness are rapping. They're talking about this stuff as these guys make their entrances. Gulak says that he's teaming with two of the best mat technicians who are eager to tear their opposition apart. And this isn't the first time that Joseph Connors and James Drake have teamed up, apparently. They have some sort of history together, being running mates in the UK, so that's fine. Joseph Connors and Cedric start the match, and this Joseph Connors guy was actually Michael Cole's pick to win the UK tournament. I spoke about how he got his ear ripped off in a bar brawl, but you'd think this guy got in a fight at some pirate bar or something. He looked like a pirate. He had a pirate face guy. He backs Cedric into the corner and wears him down with some aggressive dirty elbows and cross faces. Cedric escapes this by handspringing and doing that backflip Rana that everyone seems to do now. And he hits a drop kick for a powerful 1 count. Cedric then works the arm and tags in Webster, Flash Morgan Webster, who has a cool name, and that's probably the coolest thing about him, to be honest, at this point in time. And maybe I shouldn't be so negative. I just think that, they did give these guys a little bit of an introduction. They had some vignettes, some B-roll, like a 30-second little package on some of these guys. And some of these guys, they just kind of put a graphic up and spoke on their stats and their background and where they're from. So it's kind of hard for me to get invested in these 3 other guys from the UK who I don't know much about. Anyway, match continues here. Drew Gulak gets tagged in. He isn't scared of who is this Cedric Alexander he's facing. Hard elbow to the grill. He stuns him into the ropes, came back, and he hit Drew with a Hurricanrana, actually. Joseph Connor then tagged in. He got overwhelmed, but the purpose of him tagging in was to save his partner, Gulak. Ali then tags in, and he is driven into the corner, but Ali's quickness allows him to counter Drew Gulak's offense with a nice spinning heel kick. Another tag is made, and this is that point in the match where it, quote-unquote, breaks down, brother, and all 6 men just kind of have a face-off and eventually just kind of settle and go back to the corners. Gulak coaches his team, telling them that the opponents are going to dance little. There's some sort of weird strategy, and he yells at the crowd to shut up as James Drake and Mustafa Ali go at it. Let's see here. We have Joseph Connors and James Drake. Like I said, these guys could be interchangeable. I couldn't tell you anything about these guys or their personalities or their movesets. They need to do some character work if the intent is to bring these guys back in the future. I have been hearing more whispers about that UK show coming down the pipes, so they gotta do some work now so we can care later. Let's just fast forward to the end of the match here. It was a decent paced match. Flash Morgan Webster and James Drake tag Mustafa Ali and Joseph Connors on the opposite side of the ring. Ali hits the rolling face buster where he does the rolling thunder, springs up and hits the face buster on his opponent. That's an impressive move. He takes out the rest of the opposition and gets Joseph Connors prone on the top rope. Ali then Hurricanranas Joseph Connors off the top rope into his partner, James Drake, who tried to run interference on this move. Got a 2 count for that. Connors then sent Ali throat first into the middle rope, who tagged in James Drake. Ali was able to recover and countered a suplex. Chopped James Drake real hard. There was a real nice swift chop out of nowhere, real meaty. And he got to Cedric and he got a hot tag here. Shoulder block, the Enziguri, springboard clothesline, Cedric Alexander's variation of the 5 moves of doom. This match then breaks down as a main roster 6-man tag does. All 6 men run into the ring to hit their finishers and take out the next guy after the next guy in succession. General Manager James Drake speaks on the prowess of the UK division as well as the cruiserweights, and they did leave it all out in the ring here. This was a great match, very fast-paced, a lot of moving parts, a lot of characters that people aren't really familiar with. I would try to do my best and go, hey, guy number 1 looks like this, guy number 2 looks like this, but just want to give you my opinions on it, my thoughts, and if it's worth going to check out. And this little cross branding episode here with the 205 Live roster and UK talent, it was worth the discovery. It was worth checking out. Gives you a little bit of a preview of what they're going to bring with the UK tournament later this year and hopefully that UK show. So as the match finishes, Cedric Alexander gets to a point where he doesn't realize that Drew Gulak is the legal man in the match. He goes for a springboard enziguri a little bit too late in their exchange. He's still trying to get familiar with who he's now in the ring with, and he gets caught in an ankle lock. Cedric Alexander is able to escape, and he tags in Mustafa Ali, who hits a rolling springboard DDT to capitalize on the hot tag that he received from Cedric. Ali hit the inverted 450, the 054 for the pinfall. And he did what the champion could not do due to his injuries inflicted by Gulak. So what I mean by that is that Cedric was going to finish Gulak here in the last moments of the match, couldn't do it, tagged in Ali, who wiped him out in a second. And maybe because of the long history that Ali and Gulak have had, Gulak's whole standpoint is no high flying. Cruiserweight should stay grounded. It should be about technical wrestling. High flying is reckless. It's dumb. We should do away with it. Wrestling. We should be mat wrestlers. That was their whole feud, and it was great. The issue with that is that 205 Live had a very limited roster, so week after week you'd see these guys mix it up, and you kind of got tired of it. But as the feud culminated and climaxed, they had better and better matches that you didn't even mind seeing. So that was it for this edition of 205 Live. I'm going to wrap it up for this edition of the Tope as well. Pretty short show this week. They just wanted to showcase some UK talent. I think they just wanted to fly home, get back to the States, honestly. And we will see how Akira Tozawa and Hideo ends up next week. I'll be back to talk about that because I'm pretty excited. And I will be back on your streams very shortly, hopefully tomorrow, as I attempt to review this week's episode of NXT that I am behind as well. So thanks for tuning in. If you did, I have been Brian Green, your host of the Tope. Catch you guys later. Well, hello once again to everyone in the RWT family. This is Brian Green, your host, with another edition of The Tope, which is the show you're listening to right now. Gonna give a quick review, a quick rundown on all the fast-paced, high-flying, quick, breathtaking action that the Cruiserweights delivered on this week's edition of 205 Live in North Carolina State University. They started out the show with Lucha House Party against the Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher. Now, they've had this match a few weeks ago, but these two teams have phenomenal chemistry with one another. I did not mind seeing them go at it once again, so let's get into the action. Lince Dorado got the upper hand with the ground game early on Brian Kendrick, but the way he was bat flipping to counter moves, doing quick Hurricane Ranas, and his swift offense was shut down when Jack Gallagher got the tag. Jack Gallagher's ring awareness allowed him to get the upper hand on Lince until Kalisto exploded into the ring with the hot tag. Kalisto hit a seated Seton into a tilt-a-whirl Hurricane Rana to pick up the pace on Jack Gallagher. Gallagher countered a Tornado DDT to get the sneaky tag on Brian Kendrick. Now, Kalisto was distracted, didn't see that Kendrick got tagged, and he got blindsided by Kendrick, who slid in on the other side of the ring. This was great heel work and great charisma being shown by Kendrick and Jack Gallagher. I do love that, as corny as Kalisto's gimmick is, the Lucha House Party, he has little party spinners that he has to spin around and be all excited about. Every week, I see Kalisto fully commit to his gimmick with full passion and energy. Something you wouldn't expect to see flourishing in 205 Live. They gave him a corny gimmick, and he just seems so happy and excited to do it every week. I commend him for that. Drew Gulak is on commentary again this week, pushing his better 205 Live propaganda. He's all about ground game, and he can't stand the fact that all these high flyers are doing these flashy moves that mean nothing. He's passing out pamphlets to the commentator. He compared Kalisto to a babblefish. That was out of nowhere and quite funny. I love Gulak talking. I believe he should represent the show as being their champion one day. Back to in-ring action. Kendrick and Jack Gallagher double-team Kalisto. They hot-shot him off the top rope, hanging him there by his neck, into a big boot by Brian Kendrick to stay on top of him, grounding Kalisto, locking in a rear chin lock to control the pace of the match even further. Now, this strategy is something that Gulak loves, so he of course applauded the groundwork being exhibited here. Percy talks about how the high flying is what makes 205 Live great, and Nigel, being the great heel he is, he teams up with Gulak, and they both slap hands and say that no one asked Percy to say anything. Lindsay gets tagged in, and he hits a beautiful crossbody to take over the momentum in the match. He comes off the second rope with a Hurricane Rana to get a near fall. Lindsay Dorada then hits the cartwheel springboard stunner. He then meets Kendrick, who rolls to the outside after taking the stunner. He hits a suicide dive, sending himself and Kendrick into the announce desk. Back into the ring they go, and Dorado goes to the top rope to finish the job, when Drew Gulak leaves the commentary table to shove Lindsay off the top rope. This crotches Lindsay Dorado, and Kendrick then takes him off the top rope to lock in the captain's hook submission maneuver to get the submission victory here. And as I mentioned, these guys have wrestled before, but the chemistry is always on point with these two teams. And it looks like Drew Gulak will partner up with Jack Gallagher and the Brian Kendrick to make another three-man team to oppose the Lucha House Party. Now, this was a great match. Nothing wrong with it at all. The only downside about it is that it does seem a bit repetitive, but there is storyline progression with Drew Gulak actually looking as if he's going to interject and align himself with the heels here. They went ahead and reviewed Akira Tozawa versus Hideo Itami from last week. They blew up. They had a nice match. Hideo really needed that victory that he earned last week, and Hideo is on his way, hopefully, to be rehabbed into a top spot on the 205 Live roster. I'd love to see him challenge Cedric Alexander next. It seems like they may have wrapped up his feud with Akira Tozawa last week. If you don't know the feud, they broke up because Hideo was so annoyed that he was given a tag team partner when he feels that everyone came from around the world to see him. He was so great over in Japan. He won so many championships, and he's being looked at as someone who hasn't accomplished anything. And being stuck with the tag team partner, he felt like it was holding him back. So he did what he had to do. He got the victory over Akira last week in an impressive action. So, hey, Hideo may be next in line for a Cruiserweight Championship match. You see Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy warming up backstage, and it looks like the title match is next. They then shoot to a few cruiserweights who then weigh in on who they believe will win. Mustafa Ali praises Cedric, and Tony Nese praises Buddy Murphy backstage. Dasha then interviews Drake Maverick, and she talks about how Xavier Woods and Charlotte even weighed in on this big matchup tonight. She then asked Drake about the title match and TJP's opposition to it. Drake Maverick says that Cedric overcame obstacle after obstacle and that he's going to prove that he will continue his era of Alexander tonight. But he is very much looking forward to what Buddy Murphy has to bring to the table as he's worked hard to cut weight and make it to this point. As far as TJP goes, as I spoke about Hideo, TJP was being looked at as someone who was trying to curry favor with SmackDown general manager Paige. He thought that since he's free every Tuesday night, they're not really utilizing his talent on 205 Live. He needs to wrestle elsewhere to get some more competition. TJP's being fed some jobbers, and of course, he's just making them tap out. So we'll see what's coming up next with TJP because he was mentioned here in this promo, and I feel like it was for good reason. So let's go into the Cruiserweight Championship match. There's only 2 matches tonight here on 205 Live, about a 50-minute show, sweet and to the point. Cedric Alexander against Buddy Murphy. The commentators talk about the 2 competitors and the big fights feel in the air tonight. This really does feel like a huge match. I was really looking forward to this since they announced it a few weeks ago. Buddy Murphy looks very determined on his way to the ring, and he is not disturbed by the jeers or negativity coming from the North Carolina crowd. Cedric Alexander comes out and embraces the hometown reception with beaming joy as he walks into the match with extreme confidence. Little Nate is ref in the match. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Cruiserweight silver is on the line. We got a hot crowd. Let's go. Let's do this thing. There is a wrestling game of chess early on as Buddy Murphy tries to maneuver a simple arm lock to display his power, pinning Cedric Alexander down to the mat. Cedric is able to flip, kip up, gets out of the armbar, and show that he can match whatever Buddy Murphy's going to bring here. Back into it here they go as Cedric Alexander plays to the home crowd early. Buddy Murphy gets caught with a backflip Rana, but somersaults and lands on his feet. Buddy Murphy throws Cedric off the rope and attempts an arm drag or a heel of some sorts, and Cedric somersaults out of this maneuver to land on his feet as well. A back body drop is countered, and Cedric successfully hits the backflip Rana, sending Buddy Murphy out of the ring. He then does the psych out dive to Buddy Murphy to really showboat, and he says that this is my house. Back into the ring, a drop kick to the jaw for a 1 count, and Nigel McGuinness on commentary points out the shock on Cedric's face. The 2 trade strikes now here in the corner. A back elbow from Cedric, an enziguri, and a low drop kick sends Buddy into the announce desk on the outside. Cedric then builds momentum, bouncing off the ropes, and hits a suicide dive to the outside, which sends Buddy Murphy clearing over the announce desk. The commentators split like bowling balls here. The crowd is chanting, "Let's go Cedric," and it is very obvious early on that they are into this match. They are into what's going to go on here. They are both standing atop the announce desk, and Buddy sweeps Cedric's feet from under him. A back suplex to the apron from the powerful Buddy, and then he throws Cedric into the barricade back first, showing that he has favored the back as a target here in this match. Back into the ring, and a few stiff, stinging soccer kicks to the back of Cedric. He screams in excruciating pain as Murphy is attempting to deflect the crowd's jeers once again. Buddy continues to pour on the offense here. He hard Irish whips Cedric into the corner, and he soccer kicks at the back 5 or so times for a 2 count. Vic Fuentes, who is a very, very phenomenal commentator, points out that Buddy certainly had a game plan going into this match. And now here we are, a submission move, a knee to the spine and a rear chin lock to lock Cedric into a brutal submission hold with all the abuse done to his back at this point. The crowd is rallying Cedric, they're really behind him, they're really into it, they're hot. They rally him to his feet, but Buddy keeps shooting him off the ropes and clubs at his back. He keeps doing this until Cedric counters with a back elbow and an uppercut. Cedric is really good at delivering these back elbows out of nowhere. It's one of his signature offensive moves, one of the hard strikes that the crowd always pops for when they see him do it. Cedric then springboards from the apron into the ring, and Buddy catches him in midair with a single leg drop kick for a 2 count. Cedric then is resting on the turnbuckle with his back exposed to the middle of the ring. Buddy then runs and drives his knees into the back of Cedric to further damage the back. Off the ropes, Buddy goes again to hit this move, and Cedric gets his foot up for a super kick to counter. This is obviously Cedric's toughest test to date, but that super kick really hurt Buddy Murphy here. Cedric really needed to capitalize at this point if he had a hope of retaining his title. They trade forearms, they both show fatigue, and Cedric hits another signature back elbow and then a roundhouse to send Buddy to the outside. Cedric then runs and hits a phenomenal diving senton to the outside, further taking down Buddy Murphy. Rolled back into the ring, and Cedric hits his signature springboard clothesline for a 2 count, and he is serenaded by the crowd chanting, "This is awesome." What a great feeling this must be to just deliver such a great performance in your hometown and to hear people cheering you on. Cedric must have felt great in this moment. Buddy gets the upper hand. He hits a beautiful senton splash to the outside after he survived the onslaught of Cedric for a little bit, and he sent himself and Cedric into the announce desk again with his own dive here. He rolls Cedric back into the ring only to eat a modified scoop slam into a Falcon Arrow of sorts for a dramatic near fall. Cedric was beaten up. He got some offense in there out of nowhere. Fantastic. Cedric then sells this 2 count very well with a dramatic look on his face, and many members in the crowd are also shocked that this match is still going on. They're on their feet applauding, and they're very into this high stakes matchup. This is the importance and prestige that the show needs. The crowd really added to that. More shots of people enjoying the show, more proof that the talent on this roster can deliver matches and that people are actually staying around to see what's going on, can help change people's mind about this being a skippable show. If you were in the arena at this moment, if you were watching this on television and witnessing this moment here, they need to capture that, they need to bottle that, and they need to apply that to their weekly programming so that the crowd can flock to the programming. Back to the match here. Cedric goes for the lumbar check, but his injured back stops him from delivering his finisher. Into the corner, and Buddy uses his power to hit a running suplex. He got Cedric into the suplex position with Buddy's back to the turnbuckle. He lifted Cedric, ran towards the center of the ring, and hit a very impactful suplex. That was a sick move. This is the first title match on 205 Live since last October or November, and it was very much worth the wait here up until this point. And if they deliver more title matches like this in the future, people have to check out this show. This was a must-see match. Buddy stalks Cedric out onto the apron, and it looks as if he has really bad intentions here. Now, this move was botched. This was a sick move. I was kind of wondering, along with Harold Joseph Hunter, why they didn't replay this move. But Buddy somehow gets onto the apron, and Cedric maneuvers himself to be inside of the ring. He then springboards himself or slingshots himself out onto the apron, and he hits a sick flatliner onto Buddy, sending Buddy rolling forward on the apron, and Cedric just kind of crashing down to the mat. Both competitors are stunned, and they barely make it back into the ring. They make it back in at the count of 9, and the crowd is chanting "Fight Forever" as the two fight from their knees to a standing base, trading blows. Cedric then goes for the neuralizer, the front flip springboard into the enziguri, and Buddy catches him like a backpack into the gory bomb, the gory special light position. He then flips him over and hits an impressive DDT, a crazy showing of fortitude from both superstars, as quoted from Nigel. Cedric could be one move away from losing his championship at this point. Phenomenal match. You guys gotta go see it. Vic Fuentes says, "Who wants it more?" They both stand in opposite corners. They're staring at each other very intently, and they meet in the middle of the ring. They run at each other, and they just throw blows. They give each other a hockey fight. They still have enough in them to just beat each other with intensity and determination to prove that they are deserving of the championship. So the only way to describe the exchange that they had after this sequence was a Street Fighter-like choreographed exchange of martial arts. An enziguri there, a roundhouse kick, not a kiss. I would like to see what a roundhouse kiss looks like though. Maybe some martial art sort of romance mover that someone can create, a martial art kiss. Just send me a gif of that. Anyway, they're just countering each other, the strikes here, and so Buddy Murphy is able to hit a stiff knee to slow down Cedric. They rise and continue to exchange strikes, and this is intensity personified. Buddy Murphy goes for the Murphy's Law, which is the spinning Samoan drop, but Cedric counters. On his knees, Cedric is, which is not a good position at this point, as Buddy continues to combo together knee strikes and strong punches for very near falls. A lesser man could have got knocked out from just taking blows like this. Buddy gets in Cedric's face, says, "I'm the champ," and it looks like he's gonna hit that series of power bombs, the power bombs that legitimately knocked out a jobber a few weeks ago. But Cedric counters out of it and is able to hit the neuralizer, the springboard enziguris twice, the second one turning him completely inside out. Buddy Murphy is then just wasted at this point. The neuralizers really took him out of the match. Cedric then picks up Buddy for the lumbar check, impaling his knees into the back of Buddy Murphy for a 3 count. Now, this was definitely Buddy Murphy's best match in the WWE, and Cedric delivered as the WWE Universe knew he could when they first laid eyes upon him in the Cruiserweight Classic. The brutal assault that Cedric withstood in his hometown was countered with his passion and dedication to proving that he had the heart of a champion. And Buddy Murphy has nothing to be ashamed of. He did not want to be the best kept secret anymore in the WWE. And I think with this performance here, it's undeniable that more eyes should be on Buddy Murphy and more eyes should be on 205 Live as a result of a phenomenal title match that these two gentlemen put together. This really strengthens the run that Cedric has had. It strengthens the run that he's been on since winning the championship at WrestleMania, and I am very excited for him and to see where this goes in the future. And this was a great episode tonight, a really feel-good show. It went off the air with Cedric going to hug his crying brother at ringside, and he is supported and hugged by his mother, saying, "Baby, you the champ." This was a wonderful edition of 205 Live tonight. Happy I got to check into it, and happy I came up here and recorded this show. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this week's edition of 205, and I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Tope. I'll see you guys around for WinXT and for more editions of the Tope to come. Until next time, RWT family, take care, adios, and have a good one.